select board meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is accounts payable warrant, AP warrant number 25, in the amount of $337,859.43.
I'll move that we pay fiscal year AP warrant, fiscal year 24 AP warrant number 25 in the amount of $337,859.43.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to pay AP warrant number 25 in the amount of $337,859.43. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is payroll journal number 466, the amount of $8,139.51.
I'll move that we pay payroll journal number 466 in the amount of $8,139.51.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to pay payroll journal number 466 in the amount of $8,139.51. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the minutes of the select board meeting on Monday, May 13th, 6:00 PM public hearing, 6:30 PM regular meeting.
I will move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 13th, 2024.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the meeting of May 13th, 2024. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Next item on the agenda is public comment on non-agenda items. It's an opportunity for any resident from the town of Pownell to step forward and be heard by the select board on an issue. Is there any public comment?
Not yet.
Not hearing any. No, I'll move to the department head reports. Department head reports can be viewed on the respective website. Just click on the website and there are the reports. Select board, are there any questions for the department head that is now present? Seeing none, is there any comments from the select board at this time? No. Moving forward, the next item on the agenda is new business. First item under new business is the annual town meeting final copy. We're all set,
I
right?
think we're there. So we researched that other article as far as the language between department and town. It changed 2 years ago after some lengthy discussions with the same participants from a couple weeks ago. And the point of using department was so that we couldn't transfer across. So like we couldn't move from general government to public safety, you know, if there was a shortfall. So it is to try to keep it a little narrower and not so much broad. So we kept the language the same.
That would be, I'm just trying to make sure.
Article 30, like 6, 7.
If I recall, we were
Article.
kind of asked to narrow our scope as far as,
You're right.
Yep.
But thank you, Becky. I just want to make sure that we're.
Absolutely, yeah. I went back 13 years to look at the language, and it was 2 years ago when it changed after, it was a conversation that surrounded around the carry forward article at the same time, so it was sort of a article conversation, and we narrowed it down to keep the scope from being so broad.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Sure, it was totally exciting. Any questions about Article 37? Any questions about the final town meeting warrant?
no questions.
Okay, well, good, Becky. I think we're good to go. You ready to motion and sign it? Before we do, we have the dedication,
Annual report? Yes.
have the selectmen's minute.
Yes.
So once we move to accept and sign, we're done until we get there.
Yep. Tomorrow's focus will be pulling that in, the audit and the elected official letters, and hopefully getting it to the printer next week, because we lost a week last week. Normally it's at the publisher, a little sooner, so that way we'll have it in time.
All right.
Well, I can get that posted at least, but we should have them, we have to have them 3 days prior to town meeting, so I think we'll be okay.
This is all, will be online.
Yes, that will be online.
Right, Andy, you want to move to,
I will move that the select board sign the warrant for June 17th.
I second.
it's been moved and seconded to sign the
Annual town meeting
annual
warrant.
town meeting warrant final copy. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Excellent work, Becky Taylor Chase.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A lot of work by everybody.
Next item on the agenda is the Farmers Market Committee draft charge. We have that before us. Is there any discussion, any additions, subtractions, aha moments about the charge to the Farmers Market Committee? This will be an ad hoc committee, yeah. Hopefully, hopefully we will not need to reinvent the wheel every year.
So I would move that we accept the charge for the farmer's market committee as it's written.
I second.
Moved and seconded to accept the charge for the Farmers Market Ad hoc Committee as written. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Excellent. Thank you, Andy. Next item on the new business agenda is the credit enhancement agreement with Chandler Brook Properties LLC.
So the copy I sent you last week still had their E, F, and G LLC, and their attorneys actually asked us to change it to Chandler Brooks because that is what the tax bill is in. So I made those edits yesterday, so my apologies for not getting that out last week to you. And then there was a spelling mistake that we fixed, but both side attorneys have reviewed it. Everyone's in agreement, and Tom will come by and sign it maybe tomorrow or early next week. So we're ready to go.
So is there any action that we need to do?
I think you just have to motion to accept the contract and sign it.
I will move that we accept the credit enhancement agreement for Chandler Brook Properties LLC.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the credit enhancement agreement between the town of Pownell and Chandler Brook Properties LLC dated May 29th, 2024. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Town of Pownell by blank name. It's duly authorized. So will that be you or will that be me?
I think if you want a motion for me to sign it, if not, it should be the chair, if you don't want a motion for me to sign.
I think legally it should be the chair. Okay, and then we'll put his, we'll be Demi on that.
Yep, once he has his signature, I'll make sure he has a copy, and then we'll have the original in the file here.
Next item on the agenda is, thank you for all the work that back and forth that you went through to get that done, Becky.
Absolutely. We got to thank you from Esther Brooks as well for all the work getting that done too. So,
The next item, and I can't wait for this one, is the Mallet Hall sign recommendation from the Joint Recreation and Mallet Hall Committees.
Dun, dun, dun.
You want to step forward, identify and be heard?
I invited everybody to come.
Well, we did the switcheroo for the meeting day.
Well, right. So we did not come up to a consensus. And I think Becky sent you our minutes, our notes from our meeting. We had a lot of questions.
We haven't seen those.
I
so-
did not get them to them.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So you could just give us a summary within your summary.
So we're looking at form and function. So the RFP that went out kind of like showed a very simple sign, which is fine. We want simple, we want no backlighting, we don't want flashing, whatever, but we would like the frame of the sign to be a little historic looking. So our questions are, will either one of those companies designs what we want? I know that ADN, the guy that we met with, Ed Kenny last year said, we'll do anything you want. I don't know if the other one would do that. We just have some questions.
I think he would. I talked with him.
Okay,
yesterday. I
great.
think he's very flexible to tailor it to what we want. So.
Great. And the other question is, can we, so do we know that where the pole is out here is cool with CMP? Is it too close to the road? Versus, issues with being too close. So we have a lot of questions. I don't know if our committee is supposed to answer those, or if we just ask the question and we figure out the answers.
I think your committee is charged with coming up with the design and the
And the
sign.
size and the pixels, right? Design, size, and pixels is what we were
I
thinking.
think the select
Okay.
board will locate.
Okay. So we did come up with a few suggestions for the sign, the size, and the design, and the pixel. Heidi is going to call Gray. They have a sign for their public works, that she wanted to ask what their pixels were and stuff and their size, because we thought that was a good one. So Heidi's still doing some work, so we don't have any concrete information for you tonight. And Becky, you'll forward them the minutes so they can see all the questions we're asking. And then maybe in response, we could get from you sort of a narrowed down, yes, 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 or no, no, no. And then this is the things we would like you to do. And I will call a meeting together ASAP so we can get this moving forward.
So you need something more than the board telling you you're responsible for choosing the design and the actual sign.
So some of the questions were, could we have a local artist or carpenter design the sign? Would either one of those companies that gave us proposal accept that? Could we look outside their parameters and collaborate with an artist or carpenter in town to design the actual frame? Those are some of the questions we had.
Question for your committee to discover the answer to, right?
No, I think it would be asking these two companies the question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, if the companies would,
you amenable to that?
right.
Okay,
I think Becky has already indicated that. Sure, these people have had adjustments or modifications. I mean, they're just gonna put the basic sign up and hopefully they'll have room for whatever cosmetics.
right. And then was a question about metal posts versus wooden posts. And metal posts make sense for durability and longevity, but could they be wrapped with wood so they have a more historic look? So we have all those little questions. We're talking hurting a whole group of cats in this meeting. Everyone had different ideas, so we didn't come to many conclusions, but a few. And we didn't pick one company over the other. And I think, so my plan was to sit down with Becky a few days before the meeting and kind of hash out what we were looking for, because everybody was gone last week, so I didn't have that opportunity. So we have that kind of thing that comes into play with trying to make decisions and ask questions, so,
So I'm gonna be a little stern.
okay, me Stern,
It's the recreation committees and the Mallet Hall
building and grounds.
building ground, I'm sure to get it right for the minutes.
Yeah,
Responsibility to come up with the answers to all the questions they have.
okay,
You've been given license to explore all the parameters of buying and designing the sign.
okay,
Seize the moment, herd the cats.
okay,
The select board will start, as tried to offer the carrots, they will offer the sticks.
okay. So I would just ask Becky if you could give me the 2 email contacts for these 2 companies, and I'll ask the questions.
Becky will forward the minutes with the questions.
Yeah,
Select, and with your email attached to that.
yeah,
And the select board will have homework responding to your questions
okay,
without any thought that we have any more influence than any committee member.
okay,
Can I just say, for the minutes, one company, AND submitted one bid, right?
yes.
And that bid was approximately $37,000 for the sign.
Which is
we
a
have
little
30
over our budget,
We have
yep,
34,000 in the account. The other company, Neocraft, submitted 4 different proposals, 2 different sizes, plus 2 different pixel options that range from 17,000 to 27,000. So I know that one, I've had a couple conversations that he's like, we can tailor whatever you need and tweak and do. So I know and I know you have worked with Ed Kenny. So I'm pretty certain whatever we come up with.
well, the prices are
So.
pretty different,
The prices are very different.
Yeah.
One question that they did have was about the cost of the program to send the information. The
Yeah, the
Neocraft
software, yeah.
includes the software for 5 years under a data plan, but there's also an antenna on the sign. So at the town office, we would never even use the data plan. That would be only like if I was at home and wanted to send something. So long-term maintenance costs, I think, are pretty minimal as far as programming and stuff. And then the Neocraft came with an extra panel, so if there was a little BB gun, incident or a rock from the plow or something like that, just,
Yeah.
we have an extra panel to replace included in the cost of those. So just some other details that I found out
Yep,
just the last
great.
day or so as well.
Okay, I think the cost is is kind of a hard line. I don't think we have any other funding avenues. So that might make your decision easier.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Good luck.
All right,
We appreciate your work.
Excuse me, when is the next joint meeting?
whenever, I'll call one. We don't have one.
Can you put me in the loop with that, please?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
And I appreciate, I know there's a lot of, Kathy, I know there's a lot of things to work out. I know it's not an easy task. But at some point in time, we've just got to fish or
Make a decision.
cut bait on this one.
Okay.
It's been a while. It's been I think we might, the expiration date on the money might.
Years, we've been working on this? 3.
It's been a.
Since I've been here, since I joined.
I think people are kind of looking forward to seeing something.
Thanks, Kathy.
Next item on the agenda is town office closures in June.
I know, after last week.
This hurts.
It does. So, well, they're my normal. June's a busy month. So, June 11th for election, we have, new staff coming on board and we have 6 ballots on election day. So it's going to be, I don't expect it to be a very hectic day throughout the day, but the count at night, and Pascal, this is her second one. So I'm requesting that we close on June 11th. I'm requesting on June 17th that we close at 4 PM for town meetings so we can grab a bite to eat and get to the school and get set up. And then June 27th is the end of fiscal year to close at noon, so we can pack up and close the fiscal books and do that because the following business day that we're open is the new fiscal year. So just make sure we're ready.
But June 27th, what?
End of
holiday.
fiscal year. It's not a holiday. It's the end of our fiscal year, so we have to close our books.
We close it all day?
No, at noon.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can get the final deposit done and the motor vehicle reports done and all those, yeah, so we can close out the finances.
So those 3 days.
Just those three, yep.
Well, I will move that we allow them, the office to close on June 11th for the election, on the 17th at 4:30 at 4 for the town meeting, and June 27th at noon for the end of year tally.
Seconded to allow the requested town office closures. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? So you'll just put that on the website. when
Yep.
you get a moment.
Yep, we'll get it up. And we're gonna include it in the newsletter too, that's going out, so.
On the election, are you all set for,
We're working on the schedule right now. Yeah, Pascal spent the last couple of days reaching out and getting people in position. We've got 20 people now on the election crew. We had a really good recruitment year this spring. Lots of new people interested, so yep, it's gonna be good.
Now, let us know if you need help.
actually, be good to put some of the older people, like yours truly, to the bottom of the list.
She was gonna email you and I said, no, email him last. He's our last resort.
On my time. All right, next item on the agenda is brown tail moth grant review. So do we have any, if we were asked by the state, so how did it go? How would we respond?
I would say my contact with the state, I would give her an A+, and that made it much easier for me as far as how to submit for the refunds. Her communication was amazing, and with that, I give that an A+ alone. I think for our first year, we did well. We learned, and I think if we were to reapply, we know how to better facilitate the grant. We now have a relationship with a company for the treatment, so that's a done deal. You know, there won't be phone calls and emails and a lot of that reach out. We've done that clipping party that went well. I think that an annual event, we'd have even more. I mean, we had great turnout. I think we'd have even more. I mean, I think there's just some tweaks here and there that we could make to improve, but in my opinion, I thought we did pretty good with it.
Andy, what do you think?
From what I saw of it, the clipping party went very well. I didn't really see a whole lot of the other payments go out to people that had sprayed or anything. I think we need to get the word out earlier to them that it's available and that it's limited. But
Kate, do you have any thoughts?
I most of all appreciated the tie-in between the school and for the clipping for the fact that the fifth graders did that project for a good part of their time and were there with families and friends, and quite honestly, that it was really good to have young eyes on the trees helping to identify mess, and that was just a great day.
Okay, so, with these comments, I will attempt to summarize and send our report to the state. I think one thing that, that's been happening sort of spontaneously has been some of my phone calls, which I need to include in correspondence, have been brown tail moth sightings. So if there were a way that we could start to inventory or let people know that they could call whatever number, it could just well be mine. We could start tracking different locations for next year. People are calling saying, I'm really itchy. And I'll say, well, that's a shame. You know, it's brown gum off season. That might be something that we could coordinate with our public health officer.
Mhm.
And the public health officer may be able to just email them with a printout or a bulletin on what to do with the rash. I just discovered a wonderful homemade spray that you can spray on that really minimizes the itch, so. So anyway, unless there's any objection, I'll write that up and send it to the
Okay.
state. Thank them for, you know, investing in the town of Pownell and let them know that in spite of our efforts, the problem still exists and.
So just two things. We did get the reimbursement for the woodlands, so I have sent that to them. And Top Leaf, who did the treatment of all the cemeteries, said that he would come out in January. So if we do the grant again, and we book him in September, he would do an inspection of and so he could document, at least on the town properties and the cemeteries, what's there too. So he would take a little bit of that work off us. So if residents, yeah, exactly. So we would just rely on residents.
I know the school is still, would be interested in continuing the partnership and is open to other community service partnership, which may be the best byproduct. Kate
Mhm.
said, best byproduct. To finally have some collaboration, school and the town. All right, well, that was a first run for us with that kind of grant, so just wanted to do it justice by at least having a review of it. Next item under new business is the CIP charge revision. Capital improvement planning is submitting for your review and approval a draft of an updated committee charge. The committee has evolved since its original formation. The proposed charge, including the name change, is more representative of what the committee is currently doing now. While the proposed charge does not significantly expand the role of the committee, it does enlarge the perspective of the committee. For instance, the committee believes it should be involved in helping other committees or boards recognize when assets they are sourcing may need to become a capital plan. Example would be the AV equipment funded through a grant. The committee, acting as a conscience of the town, has already raised the question as whether or not the refreshment of this equipment should be included in the capital plan going forward. So I won't read the original charge. The new would be Capital Asset Plan Funding Committee. That's a mouthful. Committee charge, Capital Plan Funding and Advisory Committee shall, in consultation with the Select Board, provide a comprehensive tool for capital planning. This tool will provide a 20-year estimate of capital needs for the town, accounting for inflation, interest rates, interest income, and yearly cost estimates of the capital items. It will further separate appropriation versus bonding items and provide for a 5-year smoothing of appropriations to avoid sudden peaks of appropriation. 2, provide a complete asset list containing public works vehicles, construction equipment, public safety equipment and vehicles, town buildings and infrastructure, and public facilities, and any equipment therein. 3, define a capital expenditure with a cost threshold for both appropriation and bonding items. The capital expenditure definition used for planning purposes should be periodically updated with consultation with the town treasurer and auditor. 4, define and recommend sources and thresholds of financing included but not limited to appropriation and issuance of bonds, lease, impact fees, grants, tax increment financing, and interest income. 6, initiate the approval process to add or delete items to the asset schedule by vetting the proposals and formally voting to add or delete, then bring to the Select Board for approval. And last, communicate with all of the boards, committees, and departments on a regular basis regarding their future capital needs. Up to 7 members shall be appointed yearly by the select board. Whenever a vacancy occurs, the select board will appoint a new member as soon as possible and will advise the chair of such an appointment. Meetings will be held Monday or as needed and will be called by the chair. 2/3 quorum of membership must be in attendance to hold legal meeting. All minutes, once approved, will be provided to the town clerk for posting. Well, there is their draft charge. A little bit different than their original charge. Is there any initial thoughts?
Well, I wrote this. So there's been a few changes to what I wrote, but for the most part, the meat of what I wrote is in there.
Are we looking at those changes now?
Yes,
Who did those changes, Paul?
yes, the committee itself.
Kate Day, any thoughts?
This looks like it's a lot more.
Well, I think it really summarizes what they have been doing right along. With a few added, like initiate, communicate with all other boards and committees and departments. They typically do with departments, but not with boards and committees as to their funding needs.
So, I think as with all things, we should table a acceptance of this and take it home, look at it, see if there's anything that we have questions about and bring it up at the next meeting for approval. Does anybody have any objections to doing that?
Not at all.
All right, well, we table that and homework for next week. All right, not on the agenda, but under new business. Becky has forwarded an email concerning a lawsuit that needs to be added to the minutes of this meeting since it's correspondence, but I want to put under new business. Becky, what lot is that we're being sued for?
So he's appealing your decision. So, we haven't been served yet, so technically there is not a suit. So I did talk with the town attorney, I forwarded it to her. So that still needs to happen either by sheriff or certified mail, and that has not happened. But communication with the person indicated that a decision you made last fall to not move map 9 lot 43 forward to the town meeting warrant is the one being appealed. But I will not know that until we're formally served and he files his brief.
Where, just for the record, where is that?
That is the Elmwood one by the power lines
The one that's currently being voted on
for the Conservation
Conservation
Commission,
easement.
yes.
And that was one that we, just for the record, that was the one that we had gone through the process and voted to deny and moving forward based on recommendations. Then it was brought back to the select board for a reconsideration.
Correct.
So it's been through the process once, and then the second time it was.
We didn't move to the next step the second time. Yeah.
Does everybody remember that? Okay. All right, so you'll let us know when we're served.
Absolutely.
Is there any other new business? Do you need any, under new business, do you need any additional help to catch up from last week?
I think we're getting there. I mean, the counter has been busy. Pascal and I just created a work plan of what we were going to do. And today I felt like we at least got caught up with the ballot testing, which was due this week. And some ballot requests that had come in are out and reports and things like that. So I think I just feel a little behind on the PCWA infrastructure because we finally got the green light to move that forward. The Casella grant, I'm trying to get that done, and Region 10 needed some documents, so that, and the annual report, so that's tomorrow's focus. And I think if I can get to that, I'm gonna be okay. I think we'll be okay.
Do you need any help with that Casella thing?
I might, so the select board is going to have to do a letter of support that I'm gonna try to get drafted for the next meeting. We've got the letter of support from EcoMaine and from a state representative for the, and this is for the grant for the carts. So I'm gonna try to get some language. The grant application, I think I'm gonna have a lot of questions about, but I think that they're gonna be more directed at Casella. How do I answer? So when I look at it tomorrow, I'm gonna send my contact there. Okay, here's my questions on this application. You know, how do we answer these? So I will reach out if I have some.
If you need some help, we've
Yep.
had some success at doing that, so
Great,
just let me know.
absolutely.
Show up.
I just need to look at it again and read through it. I read through it the week before. Yeah, I don't remember all the questions I had.
Good. Is there any other new business? Is there any old business? One question under old business. I was at a future facilities meeting, and the conversation came up about facility siting and whether or not if one facility had, if we could only cite based on the wetlands, if the committee, it's a committee decision, I'm just trying to get to my old business. Which facility would have preference for that site? Am I correct in that was the debate? And within that conversation came up with, some brilliant mind came up with, has anyone asked Mr. Blackstone whether or not he would be open to a discussion about possible usage, sale, usage of his buildings for public works? So I'm wondering if the select board would consider authorizing one or all of its members, but I have one member in mind, to begin an initial exploratory conversation just about possibility, just to have. I think what struck me about the Future Facilities Commission is that they have all their eggs in the one basket. And this might be just an opportunity without any prejudice to explore. So I'm wondering if the select board would voice approval to have Mr. O'Brien enter into some conversations with his good friend, Mr. Blackstone. Would you be willing to do that?
I don't have any objection to that.
Okay.
That sounds great.
And I also think it would be a great idea. And, you know, with the no pressure, just, it might be just a what if.
Yeah.
You know, what are you thinking? Because I'm pretty sure he's feeling like he's going to retire soon. And, you know, this probably should be under the purview of the Economic Sustainability Committee and Village District Committee. But I'd appreciate if you just went over and had an exploratory conversation.
I can do that. I'll even bring him a coffee.
I think a coffee and maybe a donut on it. Is there any other old business? Any correspondence?
Yes,
Joe?
trash pickup. A few. I had a few phone calls and one text message about the dirt part of Libby Road.
Up to Indianapolis Speedway specifications?
Well, with the employees out, our newest employee was the only one in and did some grading and didn't meet the standards of the past. No damages, but he I have talked to the road commissioner about it, and I believe he has spoken with the new employee, and
We appreciate his initiative.
yeah, oh, yeah,
Gotta learn something.
absolutely, and that's what I told everybody. He's learning, so bear with us.
Can't break that around. We've tried.
No,
Okay, do we need to have any like follow-up conversations with
I don't think so. I've talked with,
anybody with mufflers that have been?
no, just it got a little wider than they used to.
Well, it is, I'm pretty sure that's a 3-rod road, so might as well extend our eminent domain over.
And we might have to do a little ditching, but.
I had one resident that thought we were prepping them for the automation to make it flatter so the trash cans would stay up. I thought it was actually a pretty ingenious thought, but that was what they thought was why we had done that. Because I got 2 calls about Libby Road. I got 2 calls about trash, but I did get in correspondence an email from my Casella rep that they're estimating the cart delivery on July 15th to residents and automation on July 22nd. Those are not hard dates yet. Those are the estimated dates, but it's a little sooner than they thought. So we'll get information out as soon as we have the hard dates, but.
I wonder where we're gonna be with the old bags. It's gonna be right to the wire.
We'll know in 3 weeks.
What?
And we'll know in 3 weeks what we're doing, but we're almost out here at the town hall. And I have told Casella that if we run out, they're gonna need to accept trash in regular bags because until we know what the town wants to do with that, we cannot order more. And they said that they would continue to pick up no matter what bag it was in if people ran out. So, yep.
Yeah.
Well, minimize some of the calls for no pickups in 2 weeks when there aren't any bags left. We have plenty of large, but
And
you know. One of the emails that I got, so Casella's practice has been that they typically don't go down a road unless there's a minimum of 3 houses. Now, there's been a couple of roads in town since we've been in service with them, since 2010 that they have gone down. In the last year, they have been hit or miss of picking up at Wilson, is it Wilson Way?
Wilson Road.
Wilson Road. And so I had a conversation with a resident down there, and then I did reach out to Casella to say, this one should be grandfathered because you've been picking up for 14 years there. So they have bumped it up to the higher ups, and I'm waiting to hear back for that resident. But that was one of my conversations yesterday.
as there are a lot of conversations around town about situations like the Wilson Road and
Mhm.
with this new automation, if they decide just to go side of Main Road, there are gonna be people who are gonna have to buy new equipment. I mean, it's a long way from that particular
Mhm.
house to the curb.
Yeah.
Elderly and so. that's-
I just have, one question that came up, talking with people in town about
Kathy Hogue.
Kathy
Lori
Hope, Lauren
Lane.
Lane, the 3-foot thing, like some people's driveways can't do, like they need to put one over, so what's the actual rules about the 3-foot between trash cans? Is it a minimum? Is it a maximum? You know, what's, yeah,
I just know that they have to be 3 feet apart because the way the arm comes in. But
but can one be over here and one be over there?
that might be a good question for our deputy clerk because
Yeah.
in the town she lives in, they have automation over there. So she's actually been able to tell people and we can ask her. I don't know that if they can be further apart. I
Right.
would think they could be on both sides of the driveway, but
A good question, right?
Absolutely. And the other question is, which I fielded a few, is so what happens if the robot makes a mistake and tips over the barrel?
Right? Does someone come out, right? It's a good question. Because they certainly don't pick up now when they knock them over. Sorry, I had to say it.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Has anybody discovered your phone? Is there any other business? Okay,
I have none.
The only thing, the next select board meeting is the night before the election, so I may come up, get the recording started, but I might be down helping Pascal, so I may be late or might be absent from that one.
that would be fine. We'll miss you, but not that much. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank the public for coming out.
Can I get your email so I can check into it? Yeah.